Oh, man. I'm glad I took that nap. Oh. Nap was seriously needed. Yeah, we'll just hop right into MSQ. $1,300 gil to go to Mordano. That's ridiculous. That should help. Let's take stock of the facts, shall we? The crisis at hand began with the sudden appearance of ominous towers in a multitude of locations throughout the world. We have since learned that said structures were brought into being by an organization known as the Telophoroi. The Telophoroi's stated purpose is to recreate the final days of eons past, an apocalyptic event that would result in the destruction of all we hold dear. Already have these towers and theirs been the cause of untold suffering. Countless innocents kidnapped and imprisoned, their faith perverted for primal summonings. And unless we find a way to deal with the corruptive aura surrounding the spires, we can't even get close enough to rescue anyone. Those shielded with the blessing of light seem able to resist being tempered at least. But after what happened to Arenvald and Fordola, we need to be very, very careful about how we proceed. Yet while these threats close to home are our paramount concern, we mustn't lose sight of the situation in Garlemald. As you know, the Telophoroi are under the leadership of Fandaniel and one other delightful fellow, Xenosier Galvas, Crown Prince and our dear friend. To date, he's reclaimed his old body, murdered Emperor Varus, and plunged Garlemald into an even deeper pit of chaos. The capital has probably seen the worst of it for a good while there. It saw the bloodiest fighting in the War of Succession, but that has since changed and in troubling ways. During our reconnaissance, the air was not once rent by the barking of cannons or the cries of discord. 'Twas an eerie fog of silence which did blanket that ruined city. The inhabitants appeared to have been tempered, and with nary a word spoken did they labor to transform the place into a soaring edifice born of nightmares. If they were indeed made thralls, it seems safe to assume that these events, too, were orchestrated by the Telophoroi. An army of primals is awful enough, but in light of recent developments, I fear it is only the prelude to an even greater catastrophe. We need to devise a means to counter this threat, and quickly, before our allies are overwhelmed. We will find a way in Charlian, I am sure of it. Master Forchenal's comments regarding the final days were curious to say the least. The Forum knows more than it is letting on. Sorry to interrupt. We just received word from Mistress Kryle. She says the arrangements for your visit have been finalized. We're to head to Limsa Laminsa and board the next ship bound for Charlotte. And on arrival, present yourselves as associates of the students of Baldessing, come to assist with the orders of restoration. The arrangements may be settled, but what of your thoughts? They must race at the prospect of returning home after so long. I am eager to see it, of course. Of course, we should set off at once. Then I'll accompany you to the docks. You need at least one person there to wave and cry and wish you a safe journey. Jeez. 100K. Before we do that, I need to go back to the cops first. Otherwise, I'm about selling these right now. A lot of that because that's probably going to be used later, and that's money. Okay. Now we can go back to them. So. Oh, I know that girl. That Lalafell.
They've almost finished loading our cargo. We should be ready to depart right on schedule, or so I'm told.
Excellent. 'Tis nice to have a smooth beginning to one's journey, at the very least.
It's funny. Master Louis Soir came here on a ship very much like this one. And now, years later, the street urchin he befriended that day is bound for his mentor's homeland. With his mentor's grandchildren, no less.
Aye. 'Tis upon reflection that every twist of time's river and fate's whims are brought into sharp relief. Thou hast matured much in the intervening years. Wert thou not caught attempting to relieve Master Louis Soir of his purse scant moments after he made landfall upon this dock?
Oh, really? Now that's a tale I'd like to hear.
Will this be your first visit to Charlian, Sir Estinian? Sir Estinian?
Are we strangers newly met? Why this stiff formality?
I, merely meant it as a professional courtesy, since we are now colleagues in an official sense.
I'd rather you dispense with the sirs, especially in private company. Or I'll be forced to respond in kind, little Lord Alphino.
You've made your point, Estinian. Painfully well.
Better.
Are you all right, Tataru? You seem positively distraught.
Distraught? Me? Don't be silly. I think it's lovely that they get to see their homeland. It's just... we're trying to thwart the schemes of an army hellbent on destroying the world. And, once again, I have to stay behind and worry that this is the last time I'll get to see my friends.
I'm going to bring him back. No one's dying this time. I won't let it happen.
I'll hold you to that.
Ah, good. You're still here.
Hori! Coulternay! What brings you all this way?
We're to assist the Maelstrom and the Kobolds with a lunar primal operation, so we thought we'd see you off before heading to the tower. Flamine and the others wish you all a safe journey, and promise that they'll look after things here until you return. We will too, of course. Aye, we, your fellow Scions of the Seventh Dawn, will do our part to ensure the end of the world won't happen on our watch.
We're set to sail! All aboard for Charlian! It's time.
Then we must delay no longer. We will contact you the moment we learn aught of value. Wish us luck.
Have a safe journey, and please, please, be careful.
And so you venture forth unto the unknown. A fate beyond the horizon that cannot be divined. A future undefined and in flux. In uncertain times, naught but the simplest words of wisdom will suffice. That which lives is destined to die. Love leads to loss. Every beginning has an end. Treasure every moment, every step of your descent. And there, in the depths where souls and stars rest, find your truth.
Oh no, not that. Don't play a reprise, please.
Here. Feel. Think.
The day has barely dawned, my fellow earlier riser. Though we're hardly alone in that. Envious of those still sleeping soundly, no doubt. Called out to you, you say? I've heard nothing myself. In any case, I dare say the sea air will do you good. Why not join the others on deck? Charlian should be coming into view at any moment.
Vana!
My voice yet reaches you. I am glad. Hear, feel, think. And thus do we meet face to face at last. My warrior of light, guided by the crystal.
Yo, why now? Why now? Of all times.
After your sojourn in the First, I believe you have your answer. You have gained an understanding of what I truly am, what Eidolon has always been, a primal. Zodiac was created to forestall the apocalypse which threatened the ancient world, and I was brought forth to bind him. Yet 7 times now, those who would orchestrate a return to that bygone era have rejoined a shard to the god I had sundered. The greater his strength grows, the swifter does mine own diminish. The power to draw your mind into the rift betwixt is no longer mine to wield. Yet though it taxes me sorely, I dare not leave these words unsaid. Even bereft of my guidance, you and your companions have accepted the burden of this star's troubled past. A conjunction has begun to form, an intertwining of your time and mine. Wheels shudder and turn. Conflict looms. Monumental. Which will decide the fate of this world and all life upon it. When you truly understand what is at stake, and your journey has prepared you to surmount the insurmountable, then shall I honor the promise made in another time, another age.
Cast your peepers to the fore, folks. Sharlayan's just over yonder.
I will not keep you further. Your traveler's heart must yearn to behold this unfamiliar land. We shall meet again, and soon.
Oh, what a fine morning. Oh, still a bit stiff though.
And a good morning to you too. Taking a look at the island already?
Then let's go. Let's go. Might still be room in the prow if we're lucky.
Ah, the sleepers have arisen. There she is. Good old Sharlayan.
Oh, I see it.
Home. Home at last. Well, maybe not in Father's eyes, but we'll manage on our own, if we must.
You do know you're not alone in this, don't you?
Indeed. 'Tis as Sir Estinian said. Forget not the comrades who boarded this ship at your side, I prithee.
Thank you, my friends. We are ever grateful for your steadfast support.
Upon arrival, we will be disembarking into the heart of Sharlayan proper. There is no greater concentration of wisdom in all the world. I am confident that somewhere within that center of knowledge and learning, we will find the answers we seek.
Let's go. Heidelin worries me. Like, she really worries me.
Sharlayan, the solitary island nation of the northern seas. Where under the watchful gaze of Thaliak, patron deity of scholars, academics hoard all manner of knowledge and secrets. Once, they deigned to accept foreign students into a distant colony maintained in the Dravanian hinterlands. How swiftly they abandoned it once the first Garlean boot set hostile foot on Alamegan soil. So averse to the prosecution of war, these men of wisdom, your would-be allies.
The Northern Empty, huh?
I thought they'd never let us off the ship. What's next then? Entry applications?
Hopefully they find no cause to deny us.
Hasn't Sharlayan all but severed relations with foreign powers? Those of us without direct ties, myself included, may be refused outright.
'Tis true that, as a nation, Sharlayan only forms trade agreements with a select few neutral countries. But from a practical standpoint, an island cannot afford to be overly strict with its borders. Especially not if that island's people are wholly devoted to the accumulation of knowledge. If one submits the proper paperwork, with satisfactory evidence of identity and intent, then foreigners may be granted entry.
May.
Quite. So let us be absolutely clear on these points before we proceed. The immigration officer will ask for your affiliation and your purpose of visit. Considering Sharlayan's views on intervention, I strongly suggest we avoid any mention of the Scions. Kral has laid the groundwork for us to act as associates of the students of Baldessian, and our ostensible reason for being here is to aid in their order's restoration. Grahatir, it might expedite our progress should an actual student be seen at the head of our little group. Would you mind leading the way?
Of course. The immigration officers were this way, as I recall. Shall we? Greetings. We've just arrived and are eager to make our way into the city. Would you be so kind as to process our entry applications?
Certainly. I see by your mark you are an Archon.
I am. Grahat here of the Students of Baldessian at your service. I was assigned to an Eorzean survey team, but have returned to assist with the reformation of my order. My associates here will provide additional support.
Very good. I have paperwork detailing your group and its scheduled arrival for today. And it seems some few of your companions are also Archons. If you'll step forward, we can process those applications first.
Ishtola rule.
See how it glows? That list is etherically linked with the citizen registry kept in the main repository.
I've confirmed your status as Archons and amended your travel records accordingly. Welcome home. Now, who do we have here?
Alphino Leveilleur.
And Alize Leveilleur.
Your applications have also been approved. Having said that, the streets are abuzz with talk of how House Leveilleur's lord disowned his young progeny. And while such personal circumstances constitute no reason to deny you entry, I urge you to avoid exacerbating your present situation. Times are quite troubled enough already.
We shall keep that in mind.
These last two are not Sharlayan natives, but you will find their credentials are in order. An application was made in advance.
Name and occupation? An adventurer. Well, I suppose that is considered a valid calling in your native Eorzea, and it does indeed match the profile provided. You may enter. And you, sir?
Estinian Valino, formerly of the Order of the Knights Dragoon in Ishgard.
Formerly, at least. And what, pray tell, is your profession now?
If you'll allow me... My associate is a mercenary, hired for his strength at arms. Surely you are aware of the dangers we often face on our forays into the wilderness.
Mistress Baldessian, if you insist on sponsoring his entry, then so be it. But while I appreciate that desperate times call for desperate measures, I find your choice of company concerning. Be advised that even a single misstep may have severe repercussions for your organization.
I have every confidence in my chosen company, dear and trusted comrades that they are. But I thank you for your concern.
She politically told her to fuck off. That's great.
Croyle, it is good to see you.
Likewise. Long voyage notwithstanding, you will seem none the worse for wear. There is much to discuss, but this is hardly the place. Let's be on our way, shall we? Oh! Welcome, friends, to Sharlayan.
As your mercenary, I should hope my welcome includes a generous salary.
Well, I had to say something, Sir Taciturn.
That was pretty good. I thought to launch directly into an explanation of what I've learned and how we might proceed. But this is Mel and Estinian's first time in Charlian, and for the rest of you, a homecoming that was long overdue. You must have places you wish to visit, and people you're dying to see. Therefore, I propose we postpone our agenda so that you all may have sufficient time to recover from your journey and get your bearings in the city. Once you've settled in, we can reconvene at the Baldessian Annex. How does that sound? It's a fine suggestion. We may not be welcome at the Levier estate as such, but I should like to know about the neighborhood all the same. I am equally untethered, as it were. There is no particular place that my kin call home. Still, I would not pass up the opportunity to reacquaint myself with the city. Likewise, a quick tour of our old haunts might even yield some useful gossip. The annex was west of the Aetherite Plaza, wasn't it? I shall join you there anon. Yes, we'll see you there. I too have places I would be remiss in not visiting forthwith by thy leave. What of you, Estinian? My services as a guide are yours for the asking. That won't be necessary. Until we reconvene, I prefer to wander as the wind takes me. Well, Raha, would you like to join us then? You've been gone for quite a while, and this would be the perfect way to refresh those dusty old memories of yours. If you will have me. Charlian awaits. After you, I am more than content to follow your lead. Graha is now accompanying you. Keep him at your side in order to proceed with the quest objectives. You can leave Graha behind by entering a different area, using the Aethernet, or putting too much distance between you. You can also speak with Graha and select the option to part ways. If you wish to have Graha accompany you again, return and speak with him at the original location. While he's accompanying you, next try speaking with Cryon. All set, then let's be on our way. Our first stop, amusingly enough, will be the Last Stand. It's a cafe on the west side of the harbor. Kryle is also now accompanying you. Lead your two companions to the Last Stand and speak with Kryle at the designated location. While you're accompanied, you may encounter conversation points along the way which offer topics of discussion. Enter the glowing area and speak with your quest companions to initiate these bonus conversations. Uh-oh. Enjoy exploring your surroundings together. Hell yeah. I like this a lot. That is a sight one can hardly forget, the great statue of Thaliak. As a student of Baldessian, I was usually quartered on the Isle of Val, but I would gaze upon the scholar's wise features every time I returned by ship to the city. This path leading out towards the sea is known as the Thaliac Stoa, so named for the statue of the scholar which stands at its end. As you know, Sharlayan people prize the accumulation of wisdom above all else. Thus, when Thaliac was chosen as our patron deity, it was more a matter of pragmatism than belief, an alignment of principles, as it were. We may have honored him with a rather impressive sculpture, yes, but our faith is not so restrictive as that of the Ishgardians. Individual Sharlayans can, and do, worship the divinities of their choosing. I love this area. This is just, oh my god. I wanted to come to this area so bad in the trailer. This just looks amazing. I like them running around with us. This looks like my red mage in Raid. Every time I see him. The Last Stand. I may have mentioned this before, but although our research into nutrition and food preparation is quite extensive, the average Sharlayan tends to regard seasoning and flavor with a certain indifference. How can I put this? The food is, it's bland. As encapsulated by our infamous Archon loaf. The prevailing sentiment towards cuisine as dietary, value first, and taste a second. There was one pupil at the studium, however, who could stomach the school's insipid meals no longer, so he quit his lessons and poured all his savings into building a proper eatery. And so the Last Stand came to be. It is, as the name implies, the sole dedicated outpost of fine dining in Sharlayan, the one and only bastion of the culinary arts in an isle of otherwise mediocre fare. I seem to recall their burger being hailed as one of the more impressive items on the menu. Not that I ever had the pleasure of eating one myself. Because you were a typical Sharlayan when it came to cheap and convenient, Raha. But surely Tataru has since taught you how to appreciate a well-prepared dish. We should all stop in when time permits and sample the cafe's delights. Shall we press on? The stairs to the side of the cafe there will take us up to the Aetherite Plaza. Guild ship hunt board. Clan hunt board is covered in bills. However, you are unable to accept any of the appointed bills at this present. Can't serve anyone who isn't enrolled with a guild ship or enough or something. You must have met the following requirements. You must have completed the side quest Elite and Dangerous. Done. You must have completed the main scenario quest Old Sharlayan New to you. Okay, so we have to finish this queue first. An unusual shape, isn't it? I assure you, however, that it's a perfectly functioning aetherite. Remember to attune yourself before we move on. Now, being the diligent tour guide that I am, I should make mention of the Confluence, research facility located at this very plaza. Its much vaunted discoveries are the reason Sharlayan stands at the forefront of teleportation technology. In deciphering the underlying principles of outerling aetherites, it allowed us to understand and reconstruct what was essentially a lost art. And off we go to our next destination. Our path leads northeast to the Agora, Sharlayan's largest marketplace. Speaking of Aetherites, those teleportation feeds do add up after a while. Yes, they do. Which is why I tended to rely on the far cheaper ferry services. I was pleasantly surprised when Mrs. Trataru informed me that the Scions are reimbursed for transportation costs as part of our duties. Hold up. Hold up. No, we're fucking not. Don't lie to me. But I find old habits hard to break. That, and I'd rather not be bothered filling out the necessary paperwork. That's the entrance to the confluence. I have no doubt their expertise will prove useful at some point, so I suggest you remember the way here. While we're here, let's grab this Aetherite. Oh god, there's a ton of people here. Ouch. There's one way out here. I assume this is like the Levier estate. Script exchange. Merchant lender. What do you have? Archon loaf. Skill speed and vitality. 3,000, dang. 300k? No. Max potion of strength. $83. Geishels. Grade 8 dark matter. Oh no. Oh, of course. Oh, House of Splendors. Some people. Okay. So we'll wrap back north here. Let me guess, you can't come down. Oh, they can! Oh, thank God. Access to the rostra. We can go across this bridge here, it looks like. 1800, great. This should be the last one. Feel free to browse it like we won't wait around for you. Perhaps I'll return later, though. These little open-air bookstalls are so uniquely Charlian. I'd always thought them a common sight until I visited the nations. Welcome to the Agora, where you can find wares made in Charlian, as well as a wide selection of imported goods. They are also used to sell questionable prototypes from the various research institutes, but I think that practice has thankfully died out, for the most part. Otherwise, I can think of no better place to stock up for your next big adventure. Am I overselling it? Oh, fuck. I walked into that one. On a more serious note, the next stop on our tour is one that has particular relevance to our ultimate purpose here. We must head back to the Aetheryte Plaza, follow the path north, and climb the stairs up to that imposing building at the very top. Yeah, 41k. I still think that looks good. I like that a lot. I'll come back for it later though. I like this system a lot. Instead of the NPCs just being like, yo, we'll meet you there. These little decorative features are typical of Charlian architecture. Aside from the research ring, our headquarters on the Isle of Val were rather simple and rustic by comparison. This is the Nymphium, an area dedicated to the blessings of water. For Charlians, water represents more than a life-sustaining liquid. It is a reminder of the Great Flood which precipitated the birth of our nation, as well as a symbol of the knowledge which flows from Thaliak's divine ewer. This is the reason you see an abundance of fountains throughout the city and a proper propensity for utilizing water as a decorative feature in our architecture. This grand structure before you is the Rostra. The name refers to the original public platform erected here, upon which a forum of elected representatives would deliver orations and debate policy. Although the stage has since evolved into council chambers, the nature of the forum and the duties of its members remain largely unchanged. Am I boring you, Raha? You seem awfully distracted. My apologies. From here, one can see the entire city spread out below. The vista put me in mind of my arrival in the first, those who had gathered at the Crystal Tower asking me how they might go about building a new home. Naturally, my answers were all inspired by my knowledge of the finest settlement I could think of, the great city of Charlian. And bit by bit, those few buildings grew into a town, a community, the Crystarium. I can almost see its echo. I see. Feel free to come up here whenever you wish. I don't think the counselors would object to you simply enjoying the view. Such memories should be treasured. For now, however, the tour must go on. Our spectacle of sightseeing concludes with the fittingly named Journey's End. Walk down the stairs to the east and continue straight ahead. I really like this. I've said it before, but I really like this system. I think the system was very well done. We've arrived at Journey's End. History tells us that this was where those who put ashore with Archon Nyunkrep built their first homes. In the present day, it serves as the residential district for the most important officials and the oldest Charlian families. You'll see that one mansion is clearly larger than its neighbors. The estate belongs to our friends from House Levier. All things considered, we should probably keep our distance for the time being. And with that, we bring our little Charlian tour to a close. I hope it has proven to be an entertaining and enlightening experience. Now, shall we head directly to the Baldessian Annex? You remember the way, don't you, Raha? Let me think. We head down towards the harbor, cross the bridge to our right, then follow the path along the Aetheryte Plaza. Correct. After you know. Right, we cross the bridge here, as I recall. Stick to the path and be careful not to end up back in the Aetheryte Plaza. Charlian is full of educational and research institutions, but there are still professors who prefer to establish their own private practices. Not that I ever attended to that exclusive schools that they run in these residences. Perhaps the twins could tell you more about them. As the joyous look on Raha's face has undoubtedly informed you, this is the Baldessian Annex. If you continue up the hill, you'll arrive on the doorstep of Phenomenon, but I think we've explored enough wondering. We can take you there another time. Inside with you, then. I'm back, and I brought Mel and Raha with me. Wait a minute. You're right about the ship, then. Hello, Graha. It is nice to see you again. And it's a pleasure to finally meet you, Mel. I've heard many a tale of your exploits. Yep, Ojika. Allow me to introduce Ojika as Shidaka. Administration officer for the students of Baldessian. He oversees the day-to-day business of the annex, but you may recall meeting his cousin, Ejka. Ah yes, Eureka. I've read the initial reports. Quite a shock to hear that's come of the Isle. Do take care if you have the opportunity to rejoin the expedition. This place is like a second home for the students. The Isle of Owl served as our main headquarters, of course, but we often had occasion to visit Charlotte. Whether to make use of the city's research facilities, attend conferences, or procure supplies from distant shores. The annex here was built to provide lodgings for our members while we were engaged in such activities. Ever since our former headquarters, along with the isle itself, vanished, the annex has served as our base of operations. Yet it feels so empty. With so many lost to us, our organization is a shell of its former self. The day will come when we will see the students rise again. But first, we must ensure that the Telophoroi fail. Through that door on the left, there is the main hall, where we can discuss our options moving forward. Once everyone arrives, that is, you probably have time to rest before our discussions begin in earnest. I've had private quarters prepared for you in the Andron. Please feel free to make yourself at home. Ah, the nap rooms, perfect for an afternoon doze. I didn't mean to give you the wrong impression. The chambers are quite well appointed, far more than that some cheap roadside inn you may be assured. So simply that we were often so busy with research or exhausted from journeys abroad that we would slip in the Andron just to steal a few winks. And thus they become known as amongst the students as nap rooms, even if many such naps might last well into the following morning. Say the word and I'll be happy to show you to your chamber. Hopefully the others won't be too long in coming. I'll wait for you all in the main hall. Feeling refreshed and alert, our colleagues should be wandering in soon, so I suggest we stay here and wait for them to join us. Now, is this going to be voiced?
Pray forgive me. I was delayed.
It's fine, Urianger. We're all here now.
Let's get down to business then, shall we? Come what may, we must prevent the Telophoroi's plans from coming to fruition. At present, I see two paths for gathering the information which may aid us in achieving that goal. The first involves an investigation into the change which has come over Sharlayan. Not to mention the recent inscrutable behavior of the Forum. As most of you know, the 99 members of the Forum are elected from the general populace. This alone guarantees a plethora of opinion with regards to foreign policy. The bibliotheques, for example, are a group of conservatives which would have Sharlayan focus on recording history, while remaining entirely uninvolved in the making of it. And at the other extreme, we have advocates for proactive diplomacy and direct intervention. My grandfather Galef was one such member, as was Archon Louisois. Yet despite our diverse factions and philosophies, the recent vote to deny Eorzea's request for assistance was unanimous. Even more concerning was the fact that many cited other, more pressing duties as justification for their recalcitrance.
Fortuno's refusal in Gridania had those same undertones. 'Twas as if, having stared unblinking into the face of impending doom, it simply turned away to pursue something more important. But what could that possibly be?
A mystery indeed, and one which I ask for your help to solve. Our future may depend on it. As for our second potential path, it concerns a request made directly to the students of Baldessian. Our organization was founded primarily to study strange and unexplained phenomena the world over. Mysterious relics and ruins, arcane disturbances, and so forth. Compared to our more isolationist Charlian colleagues, we have strong connections overseas, namely with scholars and academics who share our passion for the unknown. The request in question comes from one such acquaintance, Nadana, an alchemist residing in distant Thavnair. Her missive describes the sudden appearance of a tower, and the subsequent summoning of what I can only assume is a lunar primal. In response to this threat, the satrap of Radzat-Han, the individual who governs the city-state, has instructed the alchemists to find a means to deal with the spire.
The artisans of that land are heirs to an ancient tradition, one rather unlike that of their Uldan counterparts. 'Tis possible, nay, probable, that they have gleaned truths unattainable by Eorzea or her Far Eastern allies.
They do, in fact, appear to have a strategy in mind, though it will require further research. To that end, they have requested an introduction to a capable warrior shielded by the blessing of light.
Assuming we divide our forces to pursue both of Kral's lines of inquiry, then having you join the group heading to Thavnair would seem the obvious choice. But the investigation in Charlian is of vital importance as well. Equal, I think, to the Thavnairian one, given that the fate of the world may hinge on the results of both.
Yes, it is quite the quandary. Though it is a great imposition and an altogether too common one, our efforts would be more likely to succeed were you to lead the charge on both fronts. You are indeed our champion. As to which task to tackle first, we will defer to your decision. Let us next decide how everyone else might best be assigned. As for myself, I shall continue what I've begun in Charlian. I should also like to steal the services of an Archon or two.
And thereby gain access to a greater range of reading material. I will help with that.
Allow me to offer my assistance. I have some small amount of experience in the field of research.
Alize and I would also like to help, if you would have us.
Anything to understand even a fraction of what our father and the Forum might be thinking. Of course, the more the merrier.
Right. The rest of us will make the journey to Thavnair. Thoughts? Objections?
I passed through Thavnair on my way to infiltrate the Empire, and though I'm not qualified to give a guided tour, I did gain a sense of where things lie.
I'll be happy to have you along then. So for this group, it will be you, me, and Urianger.
Give me a moment afterwards, and I'll supply you with all the details of Nadana's request. Consider this hall our rendezvous point once our respective tasks are complete. May our investigations prove fruitful.
Oh, I can choose where I want to go. Unsettling changes come over Charlene, but together we will divine the underlying cause for the form's callousness. As I mentioned before, however, questioning the counselors directly is a fruitless endeavor. They seem to have already come to the consensus as to what and how little they are willing to divulge. Which is why I began scouring Charlene's archive of historical records for any hint of a connection to the final days. Suffice it to say that progress has been slow. There are only so many dusty pages one can skim in a day. But now that I have this band of willing reinforcements, the search process should proceed all the swifter. Jeez. Let us reconvene outside Numenor, shall we? Exit the annex to the right, and you'll find the archives on the western edge of the woods. I have Kryle's instructions in hand if you are ready to set out, then so are we. Having been to Thavnair before, I can travel by Aetheryte, but what of the rest of you? Another sea voyage would waste time we do not have. Kryle was of the same mind, and has already secured the aid of the good folk of the Confluence. We will take ourselves there. The Confluence, thou sayest? I'm afraid so, my friend. Thou wilt recall the hunt for Iceheart, unto whose sanctuary we delivered thee owing to the knowledge of our comrade Moonbrida. Moonbrida was an authority on aetherology, a field of study she did embark upon in pursuit of her parents' example. Both are authorities in their own right, and both are researchers at the Confluence. Haven't you gone to see them yet? I attempted to do so earlier, but to my shame, my courage failed me at the last. As it hath, the many times I thought to reach out to them after sending that fateful letter. Neither time nor introspection have revealed unto me the words I should speak, and thus have I kept my silence. Whether you come with us or no is your choice and yours alone. If it is too difficult, we'll manage. Thou art kind to say so, but I have no intention of forsaking our cause. I shall go to the Confluence, and I shall face that which hath long been overdue. It is settled. Then let us be off. When we arrive, we shall look for a researcher named Kite. Man, I can't see anything right now. I'm freaking blind. Ouch. Oh. Okay. Unlock hunts. idea what this means. An action cat. Wow. Those look cool. Savage aim 9. 10. Oh, disciple hander land of a. Alright. Before we leave, I'm gonna pick up all these side quests. Because I always do all the side quests in an area before I leave an area. Don't care really about Charlie and side quests. I just want to Mischievous Mikote. It looked like a scythe for a second. I was like, hold the phone. Dang, I have to go all the way down to the dock. And there you have it. Sightseeing, yeah. Free XP. Well, I suppose you can just... Free XP. Well, now this is a rather lot of stern faces. Are my library books overdue again? Not to our knowledge. We're associates of Kryl and the students of Baldesi. We seek passage to Thavnair and understand that you can assist us. Ah, the test subjects. Welcome, welcome. Test subjects. Oh, you hadn't heard? Well then, allow me to explain. So in order to travel to an Aetheryte, you ordinarily need to be attuned to it beforehand. Otherwise, you can't use it as a beacon to seek out while you're a mess of Aether hurtling along the life stream. An inconvenient but incontrovertible what the fuck? Limitation of Aether teleportation. Well, what if I were to tell you there was a way to travel to an Aetheryte without being attuned to it? A way to teleport instantly to places you've never been. For long years, we've labored to make such travel possible, that people might move about more freely. And we've finally done it. We've created a new kind of Aetheryte that doesn't require attunement. That changes everything. Well, my language may have been a bit misleading. The user need not attune to these Aetherites, but the Aetherites themselves must have been pre-attuned to each other, thereby facilitating travel between the 2 points. But it just so happens that our first test pair of Aetherites, one has been installed here in Sharlayan and the other in Yedlamad, a port town in Thavnair. As you may know, our nation has long maintained strong ties with Radzat Han, and indeed we owe much to the breakthrough of the contribution to their alchemies. So to sum up where to test these Aetherites, how fortuitous for you. I should mention that an accident has impaired my ability to channel Aether. Will this be a problem? Not at all. As a matter of fact, you might say these Aetherites were made for people like your good self. The magics imbued within will whisk you away without any effort on your part. A veritable dream come true, and far be it from me to worry about such things, but do we have permission to make use of your shiny new invention? The only permission required is yours, so assuming you're willing, we're all set. It may come as a surprise, but we actually struggle to find test subjects. Most people seem to have an unreasonable fear of their souls gradually disintegrating as they drift helplessly in the lifestream, in the statistically unlikely event that something goes awry. But it's plain that you aren't most people. Mistress Kryl truly knows how to pick them. If I might change the subject, are Master Wilfson and Mistress Bluda not present today? Oh, you didn't hear? They recently resigned their posts. Their expertise was needed elsewhere. A large-scale project helmed by the Forum itself, as I understand, but I'm not privy to the details. I see. Any other questions? No? Then let's get going before you change your minds. Please see to your preparations and head outside to the Aether Plaza. I'll be along shortly.
Right, we're all set. Just the four of you, was it?
3. I'm already attuned to the crystal in Thavnir.
You are? Oh. I would have preferred more test subjects. Oh, well, never mind. If our 3 travelers could line up here, please? Yes, right there is fine. Take a deep breath, and I'll soon have you soaring through the ether. Oh, and one last thing. You might experience a teensy-weensy touch of violent ethereal sickness. Good luck!
What?
Thavnir, home to city-state Rads Athan. Rising from the southeast waters of the Bounty, this Isle of Plenty served as the battleground for a conflict between 2 peoples. Their cultures bled into one another until a unique amalgamation was distilled from the chaos, in a process not unlike their precious alchemy. Once solidified as a single nation, an adamant stance of neutrality would hold invaders at bay. For a time. Now across this vibrant isle creeps a fog of malice. What choice do you have? What chance? Against such an insidious foe.
I've seen fairer faces after a bout of bad shellfish. Let me bring you something to drink. That should help settle your bellies.
There was a note with Kryle's instructions. Don't let a Stinian roam the markets alone. He's alarmingly bad with coin.
Oh no. Will you be able to reach Estinian in time? Come on. Oh no. Aethers. 'Price is high road robbery, and you want to say as much disdain. We accompanied your last meal. You must stand before him and using gestures deny. 1,890 gil for 3,000. That confusion would have been quite costly for both of us. Very well then. Right, I'm ready to get on with it. The bossy truly worked wonders. Back on your feet, I see. I have bound it. 'Tis the most I could do against this heat, short of shedding my armor. Where you got the cord from? Local vendor, man said it was a Thavnarian weave, tough and not easily unraveled. And how much did it cost? 9,400 gil. Steel, I was told. Just nothing fancy, but I've always valued function over form. I'm inclined to agree with thy assessment. It does seem excessive, unusually so. Claiming Thavner as its dominion, the nation of Razat Han had long survived as a hub of commerce. In the beginning, there was the Arkasadara Matanga tribe of Dinja's land. For a time, they came to be joined by other races, and other intermingling in culture, rich and distinct, did emerge. From alchemy to textiles, products of Hanish culture have come to be celebrated and coveted the world over. Development only aided by the nation's prime location as a waypoint betwixt east and west. All of this have combined to make a trading power of Razathan, yet such a status cannot be taken for granted. It must needs be maintained through judicious governance and stringent regulation. None of which I see any evidence, given the merchants at our gateway town are free to fleece helpless travelers and tarnish the reputation of the nation at large. Just so, that opportunistic pricing is rampant doth suggest that oversight is much weakened, or mayhap that the people have fallen upon hard times. Whatever the truth may be, it would be prudent to ascertain the current state of affairs. Prudent and practical, it's not to lose by learning more. So ere we seek out Kryle's acquaintance, shall we see what information we can still gather here in Yedlamov. Excellent. We didn't exactly get off to a flying start, but we'll make up for it. A blend of yogurt and spices. Okay, he's gonna go over here. Let's split up and make inquiries in town now. The pier is yours. Once you have learned what we can, regroup by the Aetherite. Off-putting the mayor's side of it, maybe. Oh, wow. Okay. In all honesty, I think I'm gonna try and sleep some more. I can't see straight, which is obviously causing problems. I can't read and I'm missing some things. So, I will end stream there. Thanks for stopping by. Bye.